Womanjika everyone, Womanjika meaning welcome. My name is Auntie Julianne and I'm an out of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people, and in recognition of doing my welcome to country, I'd like to pay my respects to my elders past, present, future and any elders that were here today, and I would also like to welcome you all here today. The Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung tribe consists of 3 families, the Nevins, the Terricks and the Wandens, and I'm part of the Nevin family. The 3 families all descend from one woman called Annie Barratt, which makes us one big family. Annie Barratt is the youngest sister of William Barratt, a pioneer for Aboriginal people in the 19th century, fighting for equality and land rights. I'm here today to welcome you all to the land of my ancestors. We call the land within our tribal boundaries our country. The Kulin Nation, Kulin meaning man, is made up of 5 groups. They are the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung, Boonwurrung, Tanarong, Watharong and Dja-dja-wurrung. And to give you an outline of the Wurundjeri country and the area we cover. Wurundjeri country extends from north to the Great Dividing Range, east to Mount Baw Baw, south to the Moolalic Creek and west to the Werribee River. We cover a diverse range of land from the mountains to the beach and everything in between. Many thousands of years ago, if an Aboriginal person from another tribe wanted to cross our boundary, they would have to sit at the boundary and wait for the Narragator, which is the headman, or an elder to come past to give permission to cross. Traditional Aboriginal culture was highly territorial, and visitors risked a violent reprisal for crossing a tribal or clan boundary without this permission, and this is how a welcome to country originated in our culture. Traditionally, being welcomed onto country meant you respected Bunjil's law. Bunjil, the wedge-tailed eagle, is our creator, and Wah the crow is our protector. And as long as you looked after the country, you had access to our waterways and our land resources. And when you enter our country, we ask that you respect our resources, our fauna, flora and water, as they are very special to us. And when you are ready to leave, we ask that you leave it the way you found it.
We have lots of council services that support our community. We support families with children, including health services for children and mums, vaccinations, playgroups, childcare, and kinder. We support young people in our community. Through events and activities, we have services that can support people with disability, older people, and carers and family of people with disability and older people. Our libraries support everyone in our community, help people learn new things, and are free to join. We support our community to have fun and be active through events and activities, sport, and recreation areas. We help look after our places and spaces, the environment, and local businesses. We have laws to keep people safe, to make sure buildings are safe, to make sure roads and footpaths are safe, to make sure our places and spaces are safe. We make sure everyone follows the law to keep our community safe and happy. Moonee Valley. It's a great place to live, work, and visit.
Woman Jika, everyone. Woman Jika meaning welcome. My name is Auntie Julianne, and I'm an elder of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people, and in recognition of doing my welcome to country, I'd like to pay my respects to my elders past, present, future, and any elders that were here today, and I would also like to welcome you all here today. The Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung tribe consists of 3 families, the Nevins, the Terricks and the Wandens, and I'm part of the Nevin family. The 3 families all descend from one woman called Annie Barratt, which makes us one big family. Annie Barratt is the youngest sister of William Barratt, a pioneer for Aboriginal people in the 19th century, fighting for equality and land rights. I'm here today to welcome you all to the land of my ancestors. We call the land within our tribal boundaries our country. The Kulin Nation, Kulin meaning man, is made up of 5 groups. They are the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung, Boonwurrung, Tanarong, Watharong and Dja-dja-wurrung. And to give you an outline of the Wurundjeri country and the area we cover, Wurundjeri country extends from north to the Great Dividing Range, east to Mount Baw Baw, south to the Moolalic Creek and west to the Werribee River. We cover a diverse range of land from the mountains to the beach and everything in between. Many thousands of years ago, if an Aboriginal person from another tribe wanted to cross our boundary, They would have to sit at the boundary and wait for the Narragaeta, which is the headman, or an elder to come past to give permission to cross. Traditional Aboriginal culture was highly territorial, and visitors risked a violent reprisal for crossing a tribal or clan boundary without this permission, and this is how a welcome to country originated in our culture. Traditionally, being welcomed onto country meant you respected Bunjil's law. Bunjil, the wedge-tailed eagle, is our creator, and Wah the crow is our protector. And as long as you looked after the country, you had access to our waterways and our land resources. And when you enter our country, we ask that you respect our resources, our fauna, flora and water, as they are very special to us. And when you are ready to leave, we ask that you leave it the way you found it.
We have lots of council services that support our community. We support families with children, including health services for children and mums, vaccinations, playgroups, childcare, and kinder. We support young people in our community. Through events and activities, we have services that can support people with disability, older people, and carers and family of people with disability and older people. Our libraries support everyone in our community, help people learn new things, and are free to join. We support our community to have fun and be active through events and activities, sport, and recreation areas. We help look after our places and spaces, the environment, and local businesses. We have laws to keep people safe, to make sure buildings are safe, to make sure roads and footpaths are safe, to make sure our places and spaces are safe. We make sure everyone follows the law to keep our community safe and happy. Moonee Valley. It's a great place to live, work, and visit.
Welcome everyone to tonight's informal meeting to hear submissions on the draft budget for the 2025-26 financial year. On behalf of Moonee Valley City Council, I respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which Moonee Valley is located, the Wurundjeri Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and pay respect to their spirits, ancestors, community members and elders past, present and emerging. We also extend this respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. The purpose of tonight's hearing is for councillors to hear the community's feedback on the draft 2025-26 budget. It should be noted that council is not making decisions on the budget tonight. The 2025-26 budget will be endorsed at the council meeting on the 24th of June 2025. A total of 126 responses were received on the draft budget, consisting of 46 submissions and 82 general feedback comments. Some responses included multiple feedback and submissions. I wish to remind everyone in the gallery that tonight's informal meeting is being live streamed on Council's website. I extend a warm welcome to you all and who are present or watching online. Councillors, I've received an apology for tonight's meeting from Councillor Paula Theocarides. Item 4 on the agenda is conflicts of interest. Councillors, are there any conflicts of interest to be flagged this evening? Councillor Sypek?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a conflict on item number 42 as I sit on a board which one of the presenters will be presenting.
Thank you, Councillor Sypek. Councillor Jones?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a conflict of interest with regards to one of the presentations tonight as well. Number 41, the Strathmore Bowls Club, as I am a member of that club.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. We will now move to the part of the meeting where we hear from the submitters. A total of 20 community members have registered to speak this evening in relation to the 2025-26 budget. Each speaker will have strictly 3 minutes to speak on their submission, and afterwards, councillors can seek clarification on any points if they wish. Councillors, please keep questions relevant to the submission. I will invite each presenter to speak in the order that they have been allocated. And our first speaker tonight is Antonio Baresi from Secola Pensionata Nati Italian de Essendon. Antonio, would you like to come to the lectern? Just over there. Over there, Antonio. Just behind you. Thanks, Antonio.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Antonio Baresi. I am the president of the Essendon Senior Citizen Club, otherwise known as the Circolo Pensionato Italiano di Essendon. I'm here tonight to put forward my club case for funding. Previously, we received funding. I got the letter here from 2019 and 2020. We got a grant of $5,000. In the year 2020, 2021, we received again another $5,000. And prior to that, for 3 years earlier, we received that amount every year. All of a sudden, they stopped. It's not our fault that we got nearly 300 members, and Moonee Valley has got nowhere to put us. And it's not fair, I don't think it's fair that a club like ours, the first club founded in Melbourne in 1976, and next year we're going to be celebrating 50 years anniversary. And hopefully I'll invite all of you. Now, the point is this. I have to put the price up because we have to use the facility of ICA. Okay? Other clubs that can charge less because they use the facility of Moonee Valley. Okay? I'm a bit disappointed that clubs with 30 members get the same as us with nearly 300 members. I'm disappointed that a club with 40 people, and also they use the venue of Moonee Valley with 30 people, they use the value of the thing of Moonee Valley, 50 people, 60 people, they get the same as us, $1,500 grant, and they use the facility of Moonee Valley. We gotta pay ICA almost $1,000 every function that we do. I got a paperwork here if you wanna see it. Our last year financial report for the first
Antonio, you have 10 seconds
financial report, we do the financial report like everybody else. And we send it to the Consumer Affairs.
Thank you, Antonio. Your time is up. If you want to finish your sentence, you can finish your sentence.
I'm finished?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you so much,
All right,
Antonio.
thank you.
Antonio, you can remain at the lectern. I'm going to ask councillors now if they have any questions for you.
All right.
Councillors, are there any points of clarification needed on this submission?
Sorry? I can't hear, sorry.
That's okay. I'm just asking councillors if there are any questions, Antonio.
Well, if I've got any question?
Any questions from... Yeah,
Yes.
Councillor John Barnes.
Thank you, Mayor. What's the average age of your community there, Antonio, of your members?
The average age?
Yeah.
From about 75 upwards. Yeah, you know, and these people, they love where we are at the moment because parking is only 30 metres away. And they don't have to walk a lot, you know. We tried to go to Flemington Hub, no parking there at all. There's only parking for about 30, 40 cars. They've got a hall that can fit 800 people, but there's no parking. We tried there, and we didn't succeed.
Thank you, Antonio. Are there any other questions from councillors? Councillor Sypek?
Thank you, Antonio. Would you be able to just elaborate on the history on how you got to the ICA Club, whereas
Yes.
I believe you were before at the Moonee Ponds Bowls Club.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, we were at Moonee Ponds Bowling Club, and then after years that we were there, they automatically said that if you want to stay here, you got to pay a rent of $32,000 a year. So we couldn't do that, and we had to go. The first 3 years, Moonee Valley was very good to us. They gave us $5,000 every year, and then the next 2 years through budget, and then they abandoned
Antonio.
us, to
Thank
put
you.
it nicely, you
Any
know.
other questions, Councillor
Just
Sypek?
a supplementary.
Yeah, please just keep the questions to the relevant to the submission. Thank you.
Okay. The $5,000, what does that go to towards food,
Well,
rent?
$5,000, like if next door neighbour here, Moonee Ponds, he charges $45 for a function. We have to charge $50 because, we've got to use the facility, we'll use the gas and the lights, blah, 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 you know? So it's virtually for the rental of the hall. Yeah, because they reckon they've got overheads, but unfortunately, that's big enough for us, you know. We can put there well over 200 people. Our last 4 functions have been 201, 189, 205, and last week, even though it was a long weekend, we had 170 odd people. So, you know,
Thank you, Antonio.
look, we need help. If you guys find it in your heart, I hate after 50 years that the club is gonna disintegrate. That's not good, you know.
Thank you.
I'm
for your
trying very
submission.
hard to work.
Thank you, Antonio.
All right?
Thank you.
Hope you can find it on your heart. Okay?
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Our next speaker is Rob Blatchford from the Planning Group A Bowls Complex Development in Essendon. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Mayor Over and councillors, and thank you for the opportunity to again speak to you and speak to you about the project and seek your support for the bowls development in Essendon. Since 2020, 5 years ago, we've been regularly putting our case to council, and we have received a lot of in-principle support. We've received constant excellent feedback that this project represents a win-win-win-win, not just for bowlers and the bowling community, but the broader community. It reduces the number of bowls clubs within the municipality, but increases participation. It redresses the imbalance in funding. Bowls has been a poor cousin of sports funding within this municipality. And yet bowls is the most inclusive sport for all ages, abilities and genders. It needs less footprint than others to occupy a significant number of citizens. The project also frees significant land worth more than what we're asking for the project for repurposing for other community needs. Council so far has supported the architecture work. Council has funded at $200,000 a feasibility study which came up with positives about the project. Council has funded and produced and tabled an advocacy document seeking funds from the state and federal government. We've already obtained a commitment of $1.2 million, an initial commitment from the federal government, but despite this, Council recently advised the member for Nidri that it wouldn't apply for state funding because the project was not a priority. We were somewhat flummoxed when we got this information from the local member, and we're appealing to you now to expedite making this project a priority. At the moment, by not having it listed as a priority, we're turning our back on further federal funding and state funding, and that's hard for us to understand. At the commencement of this project, we wanted a partnership with the City of Moonee Valley to lead the way in providing state-of-the-art undercover bowls facilities in Greater Melbourne. Since that time, there are now 13 municipalities across Melbourne and surrounds supporting covered bowls facilities. Monash, for instance, has one in operation at Chadstone, one under construction at Clayton, one in the planning stage at Glen Waverley. There are facilities in Hume, Monash, Dandenong, Casey, Cardinia, Bringbank, Bayside, Glenora and others under planning in Manningham, Burundurra, Frankston, Mirrabel and Wyndham. But in Moonee Valley, no support for ratepayer bowlers at this stage because it's not a priority. After 5 years of seeking that support and acknowledging that it's such a strong case, and yet in Moonee Valley there are more clubs playing bowls and more ratepayers playing bowls than any of those other municipalities that have been supported by their councillors, and we're offering sites back worth more than what we need. We're requesting that you take urgent action to define it as a priority so we can access other
10 seconds left, thanks.
Funding at other levels. There is funding available in October from the state government, and we would love to have the project shovel ready by the middle of next year to expedite the commitments we expect in next year's state election, let alone additions to the federal amount that's available. I could go on, Ava.
I know you can, Rob.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your time is up. Thank you for your submission. I'm going to now put it to councillors. Are there any points of clarification needed on this submission? Councillor Rosizer.
Thanks, Rob. It's news to me that it's not a priority. We're still in the process of setting our council plan. So perhaps rather than sort of take time now to dissect that a little bit further and to work out what might have happened there, perhaps we could have a chat at some stage with councillors.
Yeah, we've seen the documentation from the CEO to Ben Carroll advising that council wouldn't be applying for the infrastructure planning funding this year, $850,000, because it wasn't a priority. The facts don't add up.
So last year in our budget, we put $25,000 towards further planning and advocacy for the project.
Correct.
And we haven't confirmed our council plan yet, so there is no decision on prioritisation. So, as I say, rather than sort of try to dissect that now, I'd encourage some further conversation about that because I think some wires might have been crossed around that.
Thanks, Councillor Isa.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, just for councillors' information, that myself and the team have been meeting with Rob to discuss our priorities going forward. Thanks, Rob. Any other questions from councillors? No, thank you, Rob,
Thank you.
for your submission. Our next speaker is Graham Wotherspoon from the Strathmore Bowls Club, and Councillor Jones, please declare your conflict.
As flagged, Mayor, I do have a general conflict of interest with regards to this submission, as I am a member of the Strathmore Bowls Club.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. We'll just wait for you to leave the chamber. Graham, I'll just ask you to wait until
Sure.
Councillor Jones leaves. Thanks, Graham. You can commence.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to our submission. Our submission is relating to boundary fencing at our club. Going back to August approximately last year, council removed a hedge from our club, and that hedge was actually operating as the boundary fence. Initially, the intention was to reduce the size of the hedge to a manageable size so that club members could maintain it. But in the end, it was decided by the council people on the day that that wasn't viable, because if they made the hedge the size that was required, there would be lots of very pointy branches sticking out, which was going to be dangerous. So they basically removed virtually all of the hedge, just left the stumps, if you like, which has regrown to some extent. But when that happened, the club installed temporary fencing to give some protection, but the temporary fencing does not offer any real protection to people wanting to enter the premises. And we are really wide open to people entering and damaging the bowling green, any sort of other nefarious activity. So we're asking for the council to support us with part payment for the construction of a new boundary fence there, because the current temporary fence is inadequate. If our green does get damaged, that would almost certainly be the demise of the club, we think, because replacement costs for the green, which is a synthetic green, is about $300,000, and we certainly do not have funds of anything like that amount. Apart from the impact on bowlers, at our club, I would say that we provide a really good service to the community. We support lots of community groups in giving them, much reduced prices for when they want to hold fundraisers at our club. They include Strathmore Rotary Club, CWA Essendon, Strathmore Football Club, Cricket Club, Strathmore and Strathmore Heights Netball Clubs, and various schools in the area. So, it's a great facility for those clubs.
Thank you, Graham. Your time is up. Thanks for your submission. Councillors, are there any points of clarification on this submission? No? Thank you very... Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Cosgrove has got a question.
Oh, right.
So sorry. I was just wondering, is there a ballpark figure for what the fence is going to cost?
Yeah, about 20,000. We did provide quotations last year, but I'm guessing that, they are possibly not valid, but it's going to be in the order of 20,000, we would think. Okay.
Thank you, Graham. Oh, and sorry, another question, Samantha Byrne.
Sorry, just off the back of that, was that
20 grand that you wanted council to contribute, or you wanted council to contribute a part of the 20,000?
Well, we'd like council to contribute all of the funds. However, we did put in our submission that the club would be prepared to provide up to 1/3 of the agreed cost of the construction, if necessary.
So the club 1/3 and council 2/3 maybe?
Correct.
Okay, and a follow-up question, Mayor. Thanks. Have you gone through the grants process, the council grants process with this?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions from councillors? No. Thank you, Graham. We'll now invite Councillor Jones to return to the chamber. Yeah, somebody, Tao, do you want to go get Councillor Jones? Oh, he's coming. Welcome back, Councillor Jones. Our next submission is from Ante Stipik from the FC Strathmore Split Soccer Club. I believe that Ante is not here, and Mark Parkinson will be speaking on behalf of Ante for the next two submissions, as well as a further submission, Mark, that you have got. So you've got about 9 minutes with all three, but maybe just do one at a time, so 3 minutes per submission.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Ava. Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, councillors, for the time. I am speaking on behalf of my fellow committee member, Ante Stipic, tonight. The first budget submission proposal that we've put in for this year. FC Strathmore Split is a thriving local soccer club based on Mascoma Street in the Moonee Valley local government area. The specific proposal that we've put forward is in regards to the installation of a temporary fencing system at Strathmore Reserve. Those that might be familiar with our reserve and the configuration of our soccer pitches might note that there are 3 soccer pitches that are available to us during the winter season. We've got a junior pitch, a senior pitch and a secondary pitch. They're all located within the reserve area. However, as you would see on game days, whether they be seniors or junior game days, and also during training sessions during the week, the pitches are not separated or demarcated by any structure or anything preventing the cross flow of either people, stray balls, stray dogs, or anything else that might enter into the playing pitch. So the proposal is around the installation of a temporary fencing system. We do experience significant issues during training sessions and on game day with people, animals entering the field of play. The system has a precedent. There is a precedent system installed at Dawes Street Reserve, Avondale Heights. Moonee Valley Council has approved such fencing, so therefore has already acknowledged the associated benefits of such a fencing system. We do share Strathmore Reserve with the Strathmore Cricket Club. We have thought about, obviously, the need to continue that arrangement and obviously the 6 months off and 6 months on sharing arrangement that we've got. So being a temporary system at the end of the soccer season, it would be able to be removed to facilitate the cricket club having the full access it needs for its season. There's been significant growth of soccer in the community. Our facilities need to continue to grow and expand with that growth and provide the safety of our members and particularly our players and our junior players in particular when they're training and playing, free of distraction and having to think about balls that might be flying at them from different angles. The total cost to install the proposed temporary fencing, we've received a quote of about $60,000. FC Strathmore Split would consider a contribution in the order of 10% to demonstrate our support and willingness to work with council on projects such as this. And I welcome all councillors to attend games, particularly junior games on a Sunday, to see those particular issues I've referred to in the submission.
Sorry, Mark, to interrupt you. Is that your first submission?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, your time's up, so we're going to go to the next... Oh, sorry, we'll go to councillors with some questions. Before we do that, I've been advised that Councillor Paula Theocrides is online. Councillor Paula, could you turn your camera on, please? Okay. Okay, no worries. Great. Are there any questions for Mark, councillors? Yep, Councillor Sypek.
The temporary fencing, will that be taken down after every game, or will that remain in place for the whole season?
It would remain in place for the whole season. It would be able to be taken down as required, but as we have game days, seniors games, juniors games, masters games, and training sessions pretty much around the clock during the week, the benefits of having it up for the full soccer season are there.
So when primary schools use it during the week, if it's requested, you could remove it? So
absolutely. Okay. Yep.
Good.
Any other questions from councillors? Councillor Barnes.
G'day, Mark. I'm probably stabbing in the dark here, mate, but temporary fencing, will that be owned or rented? What's the think that you've got there?
It would be installed and owned. Part of the arrangement would be it be a council asset in line with the contribution to the funding.
Got any ideas of what it would look like? Is it the stuff that we see with the orange concrete blocks with the crappy mesh fence that's on it, or something a bit sexier?
Yeah, so it's a chain link fence with a sleeve system, so it would be able to be slotted in along the required lines of the pitch to segregate the pitches.
So you'd maybe have some holes and just pull it in and pull it out like they do with the poles in the car parks?
Correct, yeah.
Gotcha. Cheers, mate.
Any other questions? No, we can move on to the next presentation. Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
So you've got 3 minutes for this one.
Thank you. Thank you again for the ability to speak to this next budget submission. I do have...
We have a presentation.
A presentation. So this budget submission is in relation to a proposal to get some design concept feasibility funding investment for an expanded car park at Strathmore Reserve, Strathmore. So again, I represent FC Strathmore Split, a thriving community soccer club in the Moonee Valley area. The photo at the start of this presentation is a representation of our current junior program. We're quite proud to say that we're now at 290 registered juniors for the 2025 season, aged from as young as 2 years old all the way up to 18. Importantly, the growth of soccer in the local area and across Australia is highlighted by the fact that with our junior soccer community, we've almost doubled our junior members since 2020. And in the last year alone, to get to 290, we're almost 10% up on last year. In terms of the specific budget request, what we are requesting is some initial design and feasibility funding to investigate options for expansion and improvement of the car park access, the car park numbers, and also the car park signage to facilitate and address the issues that I'll highlight here. The current car park accessway and car park numbers create quite a safety concern for the soccer community. I personally live on Mascoma Street and down at the soccer club most nights of the week with my young family. We've got 3 kids that play at the soccer club. When we need to go down there with our pram, we have to walk down the accessway at night. It's dark, there's cars coming in, there's cars going, and it's quite a logjam. You'll see here that, and thank you to Council for the recent dynamic signage that's gone into the top of Mascoma Street there to designate where the car park is full. But despite that, and as you can see with the video, walking down there with a pram, with young kids, it's quite treacherous, and cars are coming and going, coming towards us and coming from behind us. So access way and sheer numbers of car park are a concern. There's one lane for cars, people and bikes. There is a stairway, access way from Mascoma Street down to the club, but obviously not accessible for prams, wheelchairs and senior citizens or people with a disability. So again, we're looking for initial feasibility funding to look at options to expand the car park.
You have 10 seconds left.
And we believe this will significantly reduce the potential risk for members. We want to stop this situation. You can see cars coming and going, kids walking up and down the access way. There has to be something better. And that's what we politely request of council with this submission.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions from councillors? Councillor Jones.
Thank you for the presentation, Mark. You mentioned 290 juniors currently. Is that capacity, or are you turning juniors away?
Yeah, thanks for your question. Unfortunately, we have a quite significant wait list at our club. One of the reasons for that is capacity issues and these types of concerns. We've got a wait list of that many kids, again, that have requested to join our club, and they sit there on the wait list at the moment, partly due to facilities and lack thereof to expand any further than the current teams and numbers.
Thank you. Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thank you, Mayor. As a follow-up to that, is the capacity issue for training or game day space?
It's both, Samantha. So training is on tonight down at the club. There's 13 teams plus our senior team training. We're talking about 180 players wanting to use the facility over a 3-hour window tonight. And we have a crossover between training and games that is one of the biggest challenges, one of the biggest concerns and risks, and quite stressful for everyone when you're trying to get to and through the car park and get out of the car park with that crossover, and it ends up being the logjam that you can see there. So it's both training and game days.
Okay, thanks. And just one further question. I've heard a lot about the car park and I'm very familiar with that road. Do you know if there's been any work done in improving better ramp for prams or whatnot? Like I've heard about the car park extension a fair bit. I'm just not familiar if there's been much work done on another supplementary access way, not for cars though.
I'm not aware of it. That would certainly help with the issue that I highlighted, that especially at night, being able to get from Mascoma Street down to the ground with a pram or a wheelchair, that's your only option and you're competing with the cars.
Because I suppose you could get in from the creek somehow, but you probably have to go a long way around. Is that the...
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is more appropriate during the day, absolutely, but particularly at night.
Okay,
the challenge.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions from councillors? Councillor Barnes.
Just a quick one, Mayor. Injuries, any accidents from the entry in and out of the car park, Mark?
I'm not aware of any, John. I've been at the club for just over 3 years now. I would say, based on my own personal experience, that's probably by luck than anything else. When you've got that many kids that use that, and even the local community during the week. I visit the club quite regularly, and the local community uses that access way, coming up and down, walking dogs. You've got to have your wits about you. So I think, not aware of specific injuries, but I think it will only be a matter of time, unfortunately.
Thank you. Councillor Sarpek, did I see your hand go up? No? Okay. Great. Thanks, Mark. Your next presentation, please.
Can I request the topic of the next presentation, please?
Sorry? Request the topic?
Yes.
It was a PowerPoint presentation, and I've got here...
You did 2 in 1.
Oh, did you?
That was 2 in 1.
Oh, did you do 2 in 1?
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
I've saved you some time.
Oh, right. Okay. Great. Thanks, Mark.
No problems at all.
Thank you for your presentations.
No problems at all. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
And our next speaker is Moira O'Neill. Moira, do you want to come up to the lectern? Thank you. Where? Oh, sorry. Before we hear from you, Moira, I'm just going to ask Councillor Theocharides if there are any conflicts of interest that you would like to declare. No? No? Okay, great. Thank you. Moira, thank you for your submission.
Good evening, Mayor Adams and councillors. I'm here to ask the council to prioritise funding for the Bradshaw Street Reserve upgrades, specifically the construction of a basketball half court in this year's budget. Basketball is one of the most popular and inclusive sports in our community, with local clubs being heavily oversubscribed and long wait lists. But access to casual, local spaces to play, exercise and socialise are severely limited. The few existing public courts in Moonee Valley are overcrowded, located too far away or regularly booked out on a booking system to be a viable option for many families in the Buckley ward. Additionally, I'm worried that Bradshaw Street Reserve is being left behind. That's why over 150 residents signed a petition supporting this proposal. They're asking for what's already in the master plan, a plan thoughtfully developed, but that to date hasn't seen any further consideration or action. It's a plan that reflects real community needs and clearly, over a short petition time, collected a lot of support from locals. A basketball half court is a low-cost, high-impact investment. It promotes physical activity, social connection and community pride, all values we want to see grow, particularly in our youth. What I really want to emphasise tonight is that our young people, our adolescents and teens in particular, need more spaces designed with them in mind. They are in a critical stage of development, emotionally, socially and physically. Regular, informal physical activity is not just a way to stay fit, it's a proven way to manage stress, reduce anxiety and build resilience. A basketball half court offers them a space to belong, to move, to connect, and to do so safely and freely, accessible to those already in teams together, but importantly, also accessible to those that are not in local fee-paying teams, meeting demand and offering a social equaliser. We hear so often about the importance of supporting youth mental health and community connection. This is a way to do both. It's a preventative action, not just a reactive one. It's about creating safe, inclusive, accessible places for them to gather in positive ways, away from screens, pressures and risks that isolation can bring. I've seen firsthand the connections made when young people previously unknown to each other meet by chance and engage in some one-on-one or 3v3. Impromptu connections, bridging age groups, cultures, genders and schools. I respectfully urge you to revisit the Bradshaw Street Master Reserve Plan
10 seconds left,
and include funding for the basketball half court in this year's budget. This is a relatively low-cost addition to the reserve and it would open up a whole new activity area to maximise user options and show invested local residents that plans to develop this reserve have not been forgotten about.
Thank you, Moira.
Thank you.
Councillors, do we have any questions, points of clarification on the submission? Councillor Barnes.
Thank you, Mayor. Have you lived in the area there long, Moira?
Yeah, I've been in Essendon for 10 years.
Have you seen much activity down there in Bradshaw Street?
It gets a little bit of activity, but anecdotally I'd say it's so underused. It gets a little bit of activity on the tennis courts, but and people walking through, and there's some dog action, but not a lot of space for kind of particularly adolescents to engage with the environment.
So talking about the adolescents, and you're talking about mental health and stuff like that, and getting up and getting active.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cheers.
And
Thank you. Any other questions from councillors? No, thank you, Moira.
Thank you.
Our next speaker so we've got 3 speakers, Robert McDonald, Trevor Pepper and Marilee Stainer from Airport West Tennis Club. Thank you. We've got one speaker.
Yeah, thank you. And Trevor and Marilee are here for support.
Great. Thanks, Robert.
Okay, thank you. I think the presentation is up. So thank you, councillors. I'm here on behalf of Airport West Tennis Club to advocate for our budget submission, which is funding for our new clubhouse. So I just thought I'd start with a bit of an overview of our club. Our club has over 200 members. We've got 18 adult and 9 junior teams, over 100 coaching students. Book a court casual hire, and I just had a look. We've got over 1,500 registered people who book a court through our book a court system. We host junior pennant, and we're also one of the venues for the Essendon District Church competition. Our current challenge, however, is our current clubhouse. It's over 50 years old, and in particular has no disability access. It has non-compliant facilities. And one of the challenges that we have in terms of making any repairs or renovations to the clubhouse is that there's asbestos and hazardous materials in the walls of some of the spaces, so we can't renovate or touch it at the moment. It's safe while it's not touched, but it can't be dealt with. And the other challenge is that we have no storage. And so one of the pictures there is the ladies' shower, which is currently our storage room, A, because it's not a workable shower, but B, because we've got no storage. So ultimately, it needs replacement. The main issue that we also have, though, is our non-compliant toilets. So the toilets there, you'll see the entry to the men's toilets, which is the same in the ladies, is a bit of a dog leg. A wheelchair cannot get into the toilets. We have no wheelchair toilets at all. The toilets themselves are very narrow, as you'll see from there, so even if a wheelchair could get into the toilets, it couldn't use them. The tiles are falling off the walls, so if we tried to put rails or things like that, that just isn't viable. As there's another picture there of the shower where all the tiles have fallen off just due to age, and it's just no longer fit for purpose. Through the last period of time, and we thank Council for some funding in the last budget that assisted us to go through the detailed design process. That process is almost complete in consultation with the Moonee Valley City Council officers, who have been fantastic in the process. What they've designed is a new, modern, inclusive facility that will be fit for purpose for the club for many years to come. It includes purpose-built spaces that offer female-friendly sports spaces and also wheelchair tennis, and that's one of our real areas where we want to focus, is that with no disability toilets, although we have coaches that have students in wheelchairs, that's really a challenge for them. We've already got $650,000 committed by the state government a couple of years ago, but we've been waiting to get to this point where we can actually go to the construction stage. And the advice from the council staff is that an additional $1.89 million is needed to fund the construction. It is shovel ready by the time of the budget that we're talking about, and can be delivered. That's a picture of the artist's impression of the new clubhouse. The $1.89 million that we need, we would hopefully build over 2026, so wouldn't all be needed in the 25-26 budget, could be completed in 26-27, but we would need a commitment from council to that project.
Thank you, Robert. Councillors, are there any points of clarification for this submission?
Yes, I tried to time it right.
Thank you, Robert, for your submission.
Okay, thank you.
Our next speakers are Joanne Chachik, Ian Izzard and Shaquila McLean from Buckley Park Tennis Club. Is it just you speaking, Ian?
It's just me speaking, yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors. My name's Ian Izzard, as you know, and I'm the president of Buckley Park Tennis Club. I'm joined by Shaquila, our project manager. She's the one who put the submission in to council on our behalf, and thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the council's long-standing support for local sport and recreation. The support has helped clubs like ours not only survive but grow, and right now we are at a critical turning point. Buckley Park Tennis Club is growing fast. We've seen a surge in membership, especially among young people and families. This is exactly the kind of community engagement we all want to see, active, healthy and connected, but our facilities can no longer keep up. Right now, we are turning people away. We are limiting court time and we're scaling back programs that promote fitness, inclusion and community spirit. It's not because we lack the passion or volunteers, it's because we don't have the space. That's why we're asking for your support to build one additional court. This is not a sudden or careless request. Over my 50 years with the club, we've prided ourselves on self-funding upgrades, and we've funded all of our light upgrades and court resurfacing. Only 3 times we asked council over 50 years for some funding, and that was in 1979 for a clubhouse, 97 for a toilet upgrade, and 16 years ago when we built our 7th court. Now back then in 2009 we had 300 members and 40 teams in competition. Today we've got over 470 members and 60 teams in competition. And in that same time the local population has grown significantly from 100,000 back then to 120 odd thousand today, and it's projected to reach 150,000 by 2036, and those figures are straight off your website. Our membership forecasts show that if we can provide courts for people to play on, by 2034 we'll have 640 members. At this pace, without another court, we'll continue to turn people away, families, juniors, local residents who want to be active and involved. We're currently hiring 4 other clubs just to keep teams on courts because we just haven't got enough room. It's not sustainable, it's not really fair to our members, and it's not in line with the growth needs of the community. The land we're seeking is modest. It's 35 by 20 metres right beside Court 3. We've spoken to the Buckley Park Cricket Club because there's cricket nets there at the moment, and we understand the nets are scheduled for refurbishment and relocation in the 25-26 budget. Both clubs agree the current net position isn't working and both want it relocated, which frees up that land. We're asking the council to seriously consider allocating funding for the new court, but we also understand that financial pressures council are under. So if funding is not available, we ask you that you grant us the land and we'll go and fundraise and we'll be able to develop that land. This isn't just a court, it's a step in building a healthier, more connected Moonee Valley. It's an investment in youth and development, community pride and local wellbeing. We're ready to do the work, we just need the space.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much for your submission. Councillors, are there any points of clarification for this submission? No? Oh, Councillor Isa?
Where do you currently hire courts for overflow?
We've got Avondale Heights, OLN, which is Our Lady in Nativity, and we did hire, what's the other one? Not St Teresa's. There's another. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Yeah, it just escapes me the name of that club.
Thanks, Ian.
Oh, it's actually Keilor East is another one. Yeah. So.
Thank you. Any other questions? No. Thank you, Ian, for your submission.
Thanks.
Our next speakers are Wayne Attard and Belinda Vizzini from the Avondale Heights Tennis Club. Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors. My name is Wayne Attard, President of Avondale Heights Tennis Club. Our submission is to have our courts 5 and 6 renewed with lights. These courts have been neglected for more than a decade and are rarely used due to the large cracks, no lights, poor fencing. The whole community would benefit from having these courts renewed with lights. We are a growing club with our membership rapidly growing. As of today, we have over 130 members, approximately 42 children, 90 adults. The season ahead, we will have 12 adult teams in competition, which is 6 more than the previous season. So we can see how fast it is growing. We currently hold a social night on a Monday night where we've got open to the whole community, can come and play tennis. And even though it's possibly slowing down a little bit now because it's in the middle of winter, but we've had times where we've got up to 20 people just sitting in the club room waiting to get on to have a hit. So by renewing courts 5 and 6, it would allow a lot more people to come on and have a hit and participate in the game of tennis, which is one of the sports where people can play from when they're at an age of 3 and 4 years old all the way up to in their 80s, which we do have members who do so. So it is quite appealing to a very large group. So yeah, that was it with the courts 5 and 6. As of today, we've been informed that the council are replacing the fencing around courts 5 and 6. We are very grateful to have new fencing around courts 5 and 6. However, the courts 5 and 6 are going to need replacing, resurfacing, because they've got large cracks through them. And my concern is that I believe that the fencing would have to be demolished once these, courts have to be upgraded. And putting new fences in as of today, which we were giving very little notice about, probably doesn't make a lot of sense. That's about it. I hope that council can see where we're coming from and the way we're growing. We really do need courts 5 and 6 up and running.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Councillors, are there any points of clarification for this submission? Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. Can I just confirm, are courts 5 and 6 being used for tennis currently, or you're not using them at all?
They do get used. The fences are broken.
Yeah.
People help themselves to it, use it. We do have some training on it, but we've got to be very careful that no one hurts themselves. We can't play competition on it.
So it's more they're being used for training, not
some training, yes.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from councillors? No, thank you, Wayne, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Our next speakers are Kirsten Wood and Indiver Singh from the Illawarra Road Flemington Community Group. Thank you both.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Wood, professional horticultural educator. I'm here with my husband, Indiver Singh, to represent our street, Illawarra Road in Newmarket, Flemington. Thank you for hearing us. We've encapsulated our request for funding under the heading as Cool and Calm for people, not cars. Illawarra Road is a quiet street leading only back to the street it departed from or to a no-through road. There's not a lot of car traffic, but quite a few pedestrians going towards the Newmarket train station and shopping precinct and walking to school and work, particularly with the large new flats on Ascot Vale Road. We are a very friendly street. Most people know each other. We have our Christmas party, our WhatsApp, and are always chatting to each other. So, we are a strong community, environmentally friendly, and a reasonably busy pedestrian thoroughfare. However, the street is not very people or nature orientated. It favours cars. It is a wide road, no green strips and asphalt paths. It favours speeding cars and acts as an overflow car park at one end for non-residents. We do have some lovely street trees struck into the footpaths, but these are very limited space and cannot spread their canopies over much of the road. There are some new tree plantings scheduled, but these are to be restricted size due to the limited planting areas. It is a hot street to walk down on a summer's day, limited shade and lots of hard surfaces. What we are asking for is a street to be redesigned to support people and the environment. We are asking the council to use the Newmarket Latham budget to fund a redesign of the street, with future work funded possibly by sustainability grants. We would believe this would tie in with the council's strategic plan. We would like extended planting areas for more shade trees and greater permeability. Extended planting areas would help to calm traffic without necessarily reducing parking, and this would mean a wide acceptance of a plan. We do not pretend to have the expert knowledge of the council to say what the best solution is. We would be very happy to work with the various departments that would be involved. Whether the solution might be a one-way street, cutouts, extended nature strips or other, we will be flexible. Our street is a great place to live, but we want to make it better for us and the environment, and in the current climate emergency, make us resilient. With the possibility to present a climate-resilient tree species that reduce urban heat and contribute to the council's canopy strategy, with planting that encourages biodiversity, with water-sensitive urban design, we feel that we could be a valuable showcase for the council, an example that other areas would follow and would benefit all.
Thank you. Thank you, Kirsten. Councillors, do we have any questions or points of clarification on this submission? No, thank you very much for your time and your submission.
Thank you.
Our next speakers are Willem Spann and Dean Campbell from Avondale Heights Sporting Club. Thank you.
G'day Mayor, g'day councillors. Sorry, I'll just bring this up here. Thanks for allowing us to substantiate our submission for a new shed at Canning Reserve. I'll shortly hand over to Dean Campbell, the President of the Avondale Heights Cricket Club. He'll be able to provide you with some facts and figures around the cricket program at Avondale Heights and therefore the need for a new shed. Basically, in a nutshell, the Avondale Heights Cricket Club has gone from one junior team 8 years ago to currently having 5 junior teams, hopefully 3, definitely 2 senior teams this year, plus the Woolies Blast program. As the numbers have increased, so have the needs of the players. With turf cricket returning this year, the club will be purchasing a new roller, covers, cylinder mower, line markers, so on and so forth. And we need somewhere to secure to house these items. Just before I hand over to Dean, so that he can extrapolate, I was having a bit of a catch up with Ben Carroll the other day, and he said that he's in full support of this submission, and he was really pleased with the progress of the club, and he would require, if you require a letter of support from him, then he'd be happy to obtain that. Dean will take over and he can tell you a bit more.
Thanks, Willem. So my name's Dean Campbell, President of the Avondale Heights Cricket Club. First off, thank you very much for having the opportunity to speak. That means a lot to us. So as Willem said, we've been slowly growing each year. It has been a slow burn, but we're doing really well. It's been 8 years ago since we kick-started the club. Unfortunately, we hit a bit of a roadblock about 10 years ago. I've been involved in the club. I joined in 1979 along with Dad and my brother. So this means a lot to me, and I'm in this for the long haul. So we decided to start with the Milo cricket, as Will said, eight years ago with 15 kids. And the kids needed something in the area. They were already involved when I was running the Auskick program, but they loved cricket. So we kick-started the club again. And this year currently we're up to around 70 registered participants, juniors and seniors, mainly juniors, as Willem mentioned. We're looking to have that up to an estimation of 85, 90 for this coming season. We are also striving very hard to get our first girls team. It has been a battle. We have a few in our Woolworths Blast program, and we also have one girl who's a part of our sports club who plays cricket in the under-10s, so we're working hard on getting a few of her friends involved to play. They are...
You've got 10 seconds left.
Sorry. So we have been given the okay to join the Mercantile cricket competition with 2 senior teams. We are still hopeful to have a synthetic team at Dawes Street. We will be spending up to $12,000 on a new roller. We will need to have an area. We're struggling at the moment. The shed we have is tiny. We'll need to have cylinder mowers, covers, the roller that we're getting out of the elements and away from damage theft, all that sort of stuff.
Your time
To
is
spend
up.
that money, we will need that support to have the shed. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you. And thanks, Willem.
No worries.
Any questions? Councillor Philburn.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Dean. Thanks, everyone. So the roller and mower, you need that for this coming season, essentially. So the purchase is imminent or just being made?
We currently have a cylinder mower that covers. We already have that. Yep. We do need to purchase another second-hand roller. The other one, because it was out in the elements, we did have to get rid of that a few years ago. So the only way we'll be able to do it, if it's outside, we'll have to have a cover over it, protection cover over it, okay. And somehow locked up. But then that's why we would need the shed. It's crucial to look after this equipment. It is worth a lot of money.
Yeah. So when you source the second-hand roller, that'll be out in the rain until such time that it's not.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor questions? Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks for your presentation. Just so I have a good understanding, are we talking about like a big Bunnings shed, or are we talking about an inbuilt pavilion type big
Yep.
shed?
So it's about a 7x6. 7x6, and it has to be a decent height to actually drive the roller in there. If it's too low, if the opening's too low, can't get the roller in there, it would be stuck outside. So that's why it actually has to be a decent size. There'll be 2 trolleys of covers, the Hessian, all that sort of stuff, and mowers. We've got equipment. We've got ball machines that we use for the juniors to teach them. We have a lot. And we're bursting at the seams with the storage in the main pavilion at the moment. We have a container that we also use, but it's unsightly. It just sits out in the park. It's not a good look. We'd actually like to get rid of that once we get a shed, because it just doesn't look too good.
Just a tin shed, really.
Yeah.
And
Colorbond shed.
Just a follow-up question. The difference between a container and a shed?
Container's very hard because it's got shelving in it already. It's actually very hard to get stuff in and out with the way the doors open. It's off ground level.
You'd never get a roller in it.
No.
Right.
They're only that wide.
Okay, so containers aren't?
Yeah, this is a ride-on mower that's...
The roller's quite big size.
Okay.
Sorry, ride-on roller.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Serious bit of machinery.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from councillors? Councillor Sypek.
The ride-on mower, that's the one with the flared wheels that comes out, is it?
No, sorry, roller.
The roller.
The roller.
Yeah, to roll a
It's
cricket pitch.
The flared one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about around 1,200 wide by about 2.5 metres long.
That'll never fit in the container.
Yeah.
No, and they're nearly 3 metres high, so it's going to have to be, like we said, 7 metre by 5 metre shed, about 3.5 metres high.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Jones.
Bear with me, I'm not familiar with the facilities you have down there. It's not my ward and it's not where I grew up. You mentioned the potential of a cover as a possibility, but also that it would need to be secured. Is there any current area where it could be securely stored?
No, there's there'll be a concrete patch behind our new cricket nets that are getting built, and thank you very much. We appreciate that. It'll be in behind, just on a bit of concrete. But no, there's nowhere for us to keep that roller currently. We'd have to keep it behind the sheds on a concrete pad, and we'd have to purchase some sort of a tarp cover and a lock.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Barnes.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick one. I heard you say, Will, I think, that you met the Honourable Ben Carroll.
Yep.
And Damien Hogan, our Chief Financial Officer, would be happy for me to say this. We should have hit Ben up straight away there and then, mate. We could have got him for a shed straight up and we would have been laughing. You wouldn't have to be standing here pitching for a shed, but...
I've got other things I'm working with him on.
I love cricket and it's a great idea, boys, so let's hope you get something, mate. So, yeah, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Willem.
Thanks
and
for your time.
Dean, for your submission. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Councillor.
Our next speaker is Luke McKinnon from the Strathmore Heights Netball Club. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you. I'd like to start with some words from Kate, a parent at Strathmore Heights Netball Club. Multi-purpose courts at Boeing Reserve would be a fantastic addition for SHNC, other local netball clubs, my family and the broader community. For families like mine, it offers a safe, welcoming place to stay active and connected. And for the community, it creates more opportunities for social inclusion, youth engagement and local pride. Good evening, my name is Luke McKinnon, President at Strathmore Heights Netball Club. It's an absolute privilege to play a role with our ever-growing netball club. My 3 kids play netball, and like every parent here, I've witnessed the tangible benefits of team sport. It's our 3rd attempt at proposing multi-purpose courts at Boeing Reserve. Let's hope it's 3rd time lucky. Moonee Valley has 3 dedicated netball training facilities: Riverside, Aberfeldie Primary School and Bowes Avenue. There are no less than 19 sporting ground facilities in Moonee Valley. Riverside has only 4 courts available for training 3 nights a week due to golf club restrictions and netball competitions. And recent funding announcement for Bowes Avenue courts in Airport West is welcome news. They'll be fitted for competition, which will see a reduction of courts from 3 down to 2, exacerbating the netball court shortage in Moonee Valley. Viewing the active Merrybeck website, there are 10 outdoor and 3 indoor netball court facilities in the Merrybeck area, with 5 tenant clubs: Hadfield, West Coburg, Faulkner, Brunswick and Glenroy, enjoying usage of their own netball court facilities. Netball is the #1 female team sport in Moonee Valley, and it's plainly obvious we have a shortage of netball court facilities. Smaller and growing netball clubs like ours travel far and wide to train. Training close to home can be the difference between a child participating or not. We welcome the investment tabled in the draft budget for Boeing Reserve, though it's illogical for us to invest significantly in Boeing Reserve without fixing the existing tennis courts, which are in a state of disrepair. Netball Victoria estimates redevelopment costs for the existing courts at approximately $200,000. Both Strathmore Heights and Strathmore netball clubs are willing to commit funds to reduce costs for MVCC. Netball is a female-dominated community sport experiencing growth in Moonee Valley and rightfully deserves the investment to cater for the existing and growing demand. In closing, multi-purpose courts at Boeing Reserve will assist in transforming Boeing Reserve to a destination sporting and community hub.
Luke, you've got 10 seconds.
Thank you. Address a severe shortage of netball training facilities and build a welcoming place to stay active and connected. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Luke. Councillors, are there any points of clarification? Councillor Jones.
Thank you for your presentation, Luke. Quick question. You mentioned Bowes Avenue is being reduced from 3 to 2. You also mentioned that it is a growing club and the most popular female team sport. Are you turning away players because of the current situation, or have you got a waiting list, or is everyone able to play currently?
We're not turning players away. For those that don't know, our netball club started in 2021 with 5 teams. We've now got 23 teams, so rapidly growing, which is fantastic, but no, we're not turning players away at the moment.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thank you for your presentation. Bowes Avenue is obviously the ward that I sort of look after, so I'm aware of it going from 3 courts down to 2 courts. How's that? You obviously don't use it for competition; you just use it for training.
Correct.
How's that going to? What effects is that going to have on? How will that work for you and the other clubs?
Yeah, well, we use the courts for training twice a week, and we use all 3 courts. So it affects from a capacity perspective,, reducing from 3 down to 2 courts.
And so is it sort of like half a quarter team? How do you...
Yeah, traditionally it's half a court, and we've been, I think, forced to, sometimes doing a third or a half, but optimally you want to use the entire court from a training perspective, definitely.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions? No, thank you so much, Luke, for your submission.
Ta.
Our next speaker is Bill Blair. Thanks, Bill.
Okay. Good evening, Councillor and Mayor Adams. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm here in regards to some information the Council put out in regards to flooding issues and park improvements around the area. Behind my property, we have a laneway that runs north-south between Kipling Street and Holberg Street. About 2.5 years ago, a sinkhole developed. The council blocked off the laneway, had the whole laneway ripped up by bluestone and relaid. The issue there is that the grill that was there was then put up too high, so the water wasn't flowing in, because I've never known water to flow uphill in all my years. And in that grill there were some boarding, probably to hold up the walls while they did it, but they never removed it, so the water channels underneath had nowhere to go. When I contacted council, they said no, they come out and had a look. When they looked down there, I won't tell you the word they used, but anyway, they were quickly removed. The issue we still have now is that previously the laneway, the centre channel of the bluestone would go, and because the grill is off to the side, it would channel into the grill. Now it's been relayed, and I say redirected, because the centre blocks just go straight out into the street, across the footpath and into the street, which causes a lot of flooding. We're on a corner block, so out in the street there, one particular night, because of the heavy rain, the water just flows out at a great rate. If there's 10% that goes in the grill, I'll go probably 90% flows out in the street. This particular night, we had takeaway. I got home, had to park the wife's car outside. I'm in my 60s, my wife's in her 60s. I couldn't get out the driver's side because the water was past the driver's side. I had to climb over the console and exit the passenger side just to get out of the car. My son arrived home. He come home from his training, cricket. He got wet feet because he had to get his cricket bag out of the boot because the water obviously went. This has been attempted a couple of times, but still hasn't been corrected. The centre blocks, the bluestone blocks, are still too high. They're not sunk enough, and the drain is not sunk enough. The centre blocks still go out into the street and do not curve with a bit of a dog leg as originally it was. So it wasn't relayed as per the original. So, and at the end of the laneway, another thing that helped was there was a little bit of a lip from the laneway to the footpath. Now it's just flush flat, so the water's just got easy access to flood out, which people walking, kids, women, prams, whatever, anybody walking get wet feet. There was a little bit of a lip there, which helped direct the water also into...
10 seconds.
You're
Bill,
kidding
thank
me.
you.
Okay, the bike access across the road, bluestone, they cut away they wanted to make a bike access. To do it, they cut away galvanised fencing, took that, got bluestone gutter, put the piping in there, covered it over by asphalt. Now we've got a 2-inch, gone from an 8-inch to a 2 foot wide to a 2-inch bit of galvanised piping that's clogged up, and weeds, no joking, at times are above my knee. On the redevelopment of, I'm just after a completion date, because when they did a redevelopment of Ormond Park, they ripped out all the plants, good plants and things in the garden alongside. I rang the council and said, what's going on? They said, no, we're going to beautify the park. Fine. That's still all weedy. There are logs, unsecured logs, that fall out when it rains. They are now sitting in the gutter, as they generally do, so that's another flooding issue. We were promised exercise equipment. The galvanised plumbing's been there for 60 plus years. I've lived in street for 60 plus years. I'm not asking for a white picket fence, but surely could have a splash of white paint or something. And and maybe some mulch on the grid, asbestos free, of course, but if we can just have some mulch, something to spruce it up a bit, because it really is sad to look at when we have people from other sporting clubs and municipalities come along and witness that. Sorry, I've got...
Thank you, Bill. Unfortunately, your time is up. Thank you. Councillors, are there any points of clarification on this submission? Councillor Cosgrove?
Thanks. I just wanted to clarify, it sounds like there were two different maybe submissions there, something about fixing the lane and then also some works at Ormond Park.
On the laneway and the bike path, it's all due to the flooding issues that have been happening around the area, which I think the council put out any flooding issues and that to answer. So I put in interest, and the other one was on park improvements.
Right. Thank you.
Councillor Isa?
Thanks, Bill, for your presentation tonight. I really just wanted to let you know that some of those issues can be addressed outside of the budget submission process, and so thanks very much for raising them again with council. And I've been talking with some officers about we've been talking about some of those issues, so they are being followed up. So thanks again for raising them with us, Bill.
No, thank you, Rosa. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill, for your submission.
Thank you. It's up.
Thank you. Our next speakers are Jackie Taylor and Katerina Marino from St Aidens Preschool Centre.
So good evening, Mayor, councillors. I'm a parent of St Aidens Preschool residing in Strathmore and asked this council to allocate a portion of early years infrastructure funding to support the continuation of St Aidens Preschool, a preschool which has made a significant impact and contribution to the community for the past 75 years due to its highly regarded kindergarten service in Strathmore. The reason for this application simply is that we have been unfairly evicted with no consultation and ample time to find a solution by the parish of St Aidens Anglican Church. This has forced us to apply for urgent funding to seek an alternative operating model and home for our kindergarten. Suggested site, which is detailed in the application, is Strathmore Primary School, and also to support the transition to retain at least 70 positions that are at risk annually, particularly for those next year's 3-year-old cohort where they'll have nowhere to go post-2026. This targeted investment aligns directly with Council's priorities, also outlined in the application. We are also open to hybrid funding models. The Parent Committee can contribute $30,000, money originally raised to pay for a new playground this year. We can also apply for further auxiliary philanthropic and government grants as needed. What makes St Aidan's Preschool so unique that is worth saving? There is several. It's a culmination of several factors. It meets community needs. It is the only sessional preschool in the area that is routine-based, keyword, helping children with special and additional needs, another keyword. This amazing sessional kindergarten program is what parents want, which we can attest for. It is oversubscribed every year, a true indication of its desirability. So if we lose this, then it puts pressure on other services. It's number 2, community connectedness over decades. An example, my next door neighbour who has adult children in their 20s bumped into the educator who still works there and recounted their children's names and details. Service excellence. The Department of Education has once again rated it as exceeding the highest rating you can have. Education pipeline. St Aidan's program is renowned by local schools in the area, ensuring children are school ready. By embedding this in Strathmore Primary or another site, it will further enhance the smooth transition into schools and also improve enrolment pathways into host schools, strengthening its further viability. Also, the highly qualified, dedicated and loyal staff. There have been countless stories, my daughter included, where children have had anxiety and post-COVID and the teachers have helped them through this period. In closing, this is a critical juncture for this preschool's history. This council has been given the opportunity to take a successful, proven model in early childhood education that the community needs, wants and truly deserves, and propel it to the next phase. It is a celebrated jewel, a legacy, and it can be marketed as such and only made possible by the Moonee Valley Council investment. Thank you for your time, and we hope you look favourable upon our application. Thanks.
Thank you, Jackie and Katarina. Are there any questions from councillors on this submission? Councillor Jones.
Thank you for the presentation. I did read through the submission, obviously, as the councillor from Airport Ward. Are BPA Children's Services aware of this submission this evening and supportive of it?
Jackie.
There has been quite a bit of miscommunication or lack of communication at all with BPA. That's been investigated separately, I guess.
They haven't been representing our best interests.
They haven't
yet.
at all.
Yeah.
There's been no consultation with the Parents Committee throughout this entire process or decision making. So that's sort of a separate little issue that we're investigating and dealing with on the side.
Thank you. Councillor Isa.
Apologies if I've misunderstood because I was aware of when this issue first arose. But are you currently seeking a new premises to continue the same service? Is that?
We're hoping to, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so the budget submission is asking council to assist you to find a new location.
Yep. That would be amazing.
Thank you. Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. Is Strathmore Primary, how's the conversation with Strathmore Primary and probably the local state member going?
Yeah, we're meeting with Strathmore Primary next week, so that's to be confirmed. So we've got quite a few meetings in the upcoming weeks. So we're just in the early stages of reaching out and changing that narrative and trying to continue St. Aidens.
So the Strathmore Primary is sort of, I suppose, a wish you like. That's the ideal.
Yeah. We are aware of I believe their enrolments are down at the moment, so that might sort of help there as well. I can't say if they're open to it, but I believe we've heard that they may be. So until we have that conversation next week.
Can I just add, there's about a dozen schools across Victoria, from my understanding, that have kindergartens embedded in primary schools, and so this will be something that we could join a network. So
it's definitely something that the state government looked upon highly. We did that at Essendon High School, a bit different. But so my other part to the question was if you've had conversations with the local state member, Danny Pearson.
I wrote to him personally, so he's aware of the situation, but
He would probably be a good one to keep
to
across
continue
the issue
conversations.
too.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Jackie and Katarina, for your submission. Our next speaker is Jason Alo on behalf of Peter Gould from Active Transport Collective, Moonee Valley Sustainability. Thank you, Jason.
Good evening, Mayor, councillors and officers. My name is Jason Alo and I'm here on behalf of Active Transport Collective, a focus group of Moonee Valley Sustainability. Thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. The importance of active transport. Active transport, walking, cycling, mobility options that reduce car dependence, bring a host of benefits to our community. Better public health, lower emissions, more connected neighbourhoods. These outcomes are well recognised at every level of government. The federal government recently provided grants to local councils for active transport infrastructure. The Victorian government has a Minister for Active Transport. Moonee Valley Council has a dedicated officer whose role it is to progress active transport issues. These investments and appointments reflect growing awareness of how crucial walking and cycling networks are to the future of our cities. Community perspectives and research. Feedback from the community tells us residents feel our cycling network has significant gaps. In comparison to Maribyrnong and Marybeck, Moonee Valley is often seen as lacking safe, continuous cycling routes. We draw Council's attention to an important study. What do women want? To ride a bicycle without fear of injury and harassment. Johnson M. 2022, Monash University. The research underscores how safety and visibility are particularly pressing issues for women and key barriers for broader uptake of cycling. Local examples of gaps and missed opportunities. Mount Alexander Road has seen some improvements as a key north-south corridor, but many opportunities remain unrealised. A crossing upgrade at Maribyrnong Road and Moore Street has improved access, but a connected Craigieburn rail corridor remains missing. The Steel Creek Trail ends abruptly at a railway in East Keilor, just short of the 43-kilometre M80 trail. A connecting tunnel could easily unlock a major link across Melbourne's west and north. Elsewhere, there's no obvious east-west link to cycle through Ascot Vale. Strathmore remains poorly connected to the broader cycling network, and a long-forgotten path behind Moonee Valley Racecourse could link back streets to the Moonee Ponds Creek Trail. Recommendations and requests for collaboration. We note that in the current draft budget, the detail of where money will be spent on walking and cycling links isn't clearly visible. As engaged residents, we're eager to work with Council, drawing on local knowledge and mapping work we've already done to help prioritise and plan improvements. In closing, active transport isn't just a niche issue, it's a core part of making Moonee Valley more livable, equitable and sustainable. We look forward to working together to build a city where walking and cycling are safe, seamless and supported. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Councillors, do I have any questions? Councillor Philburn.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Jason. The submission goes through, it's got those 6 dot points of things that you'd like to see, and I note that it's clear that that's not a exhaustive list, it's just what the community's said that's important. Are there any of those sort of dot points jump out as a more urgent than others, or priorities, or is it like trying to unfairly pick a favourite?
I think the big one is the Craigieburn rail corridor, and I understand it's already been identified as a bit of a priority. It's kind of an easy win. It's something that can run along the rail line, similar to what you find along the Upfield Trail. It's kind of already sort of a clear pathway going through. It's probably one that can have a lot of, use by the community.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Seipert.
Yeah, just in regard to the Craigieburn rail line, I've been on council for close to 20 years, and that's been brought up so many times. And the stumbling block is VicTrack, because it's on VicTrack land. It's not on council or state. It's VicTrack land.
Right.
So that's where I think the hindrance is. When you mentioned the tunnel under the Calder Freeway, once again that's has been knocked back by consecutive state governments over the last 20 years, and I totally agree with you. That would be probably a gem for everyone, for connectivity, for the whole lot. So I thank you for your submission.
Yeah. Just to add to the Craigieburn one, I think there's probably some different ways you could do it. Streets running alongside, not necessarily your dedicated path. And I understand we do have a few that are dedicated paths, others that aren't. But something that could make an impact is signage to connect the back streets along. I kind of loosely follow the rail line on my cycle into work 3 times a week, and I kind of roughly do these back streets, but for someone who's not familiar, they probably wouldn't have that experience to do so easily.
Great, thank you. Councillors, any other questions? Thanks, Jason.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Our next speakers are Logan Shield and Angela Clark from Moonee Valley Sustainability.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors. Thanks so much for your time this evening. My name's Angela Clark and this is Logan Shield, and we are co-chairs of Moonee Valley Sustainability. Most of you know us. We've been hassling you for years, I think, but we just wanted to reiterate that we're a not-for-profit organisation, a charity, and that we are completely volunteer-run. So our submission tonight, as you'll see before you, is quite different to all the submissions that you've heard tonight, because we're not specifically asking for something for our organisation. We're giving you feedback on the budget in particular. So we want to commend you on some of the, we have shared goals around the climate emergency, and you have, made some really amazing changes over the years and have prioritised, tree planting and lowering emissions through the council operations. So we want to commend you on that. But we do feel that there is a kind of, there's a lost opportunity in your budget at the moment around the carbon emissions reduction scheme. So what we've done is in the submission, we've kind of looked at what you've done and said, okay, well, what are the kind of low cost, high impact things that could make a difference now to our community? So for some of you, the climate emergency argument may not wash, but there is the issues around well-being and health and the cost of living. So we've kind of tried to highlight things that can work at a kind of micro level that you'll be able to scale up in some point. So I want to hand over to Logan, who's going to talk about a couple of specific examples. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Angela. So as you can see, the ask is to add $1 million to the reserve. The program that's currently underway, which is the Let's Go Zero program, is already working really well. It's a successful thing by the measure of the officers. So I just wanted to quickly highlight so within the 5 things that we're asking to add the funding to, some of the benefits to people in Moonee Valley would be things like so imagine a single mum who's on a low income, has 2 kids, struggling to pay energy bills. Council stepping in to incentivise insulation would really help somebody like that to cut their energy costs at home, create a healthier home for their children. You could think of maybe an older person in Keilor East who's living under the flight path. They're in an age group that's much more susceptible to heat issues. Again, insulating, it's an easy way to help somebody like that reduce their bills, make the home healthier, and an added benefit of that would be reducing noise pollution from the flight path. So I think and officers have also identified that these programs are high impact and low cost to council, so they're very effective, and we'd urge you to really consider this proposal.
Thank you, Logan and Angela. Councillors, are there any questions or clarifications? Thank you, Councillor Philburn.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Angela. Thanks, Logan. You touched on it then with, say, the insulation upgrades.
Yep.
And I guess that's the sort of thing that would fall under that that home energy upgrades.
Yeah, correct.
Program. Has that program been sort of pulled apart around that sort of line of thinking that you just mentioned there around sort of bang for the buck and greatest impact for people and lowest cost? Is it?
Yes. So in the officers have indicated things like a relatively minor upgrade to a home, so for an average cost of about $2,800, which is kind of within what we're talking about here, had wide-ranging health benefits and cost savings. Is that answering the question? So yes, they've already done. So this program's kind of already been, trialled to some extent. They've found that, simple things like that have really big impacts. And so I guess what we're saying is, okay, this is working. Let's supercharge it.
Yeah, so I'm just sort of thinking, is there a sliding scale of sort of low cost, high impact stuff like your insulation, your draft proofing, those sorts of things? And does that sort of scale up to things like further assistance for getting off gas, or is that sort of almost get thrown into some of the advisory? I'm trying to.
That comes into some of the other. I mean, insulation is as you know, it's like total best bang for buck you can do, and it also in the officer's report highlights that the fact that this is people's homes are the way to cut emissions. So it's all all the evidence is there to say that this is good stuff. It's not, insulation is not a scheme that's happening at the state government level. Mary Beck's doing it with great success as well. So it's everything is there to say this is something to invest in. It's helping people, reducing their costs.
And I think the scalability we're talking about is, this budget isn't going to do every resident in Moonee Valley. It's only going to do a small proportion of it. So let's kind of increase that proportion right now so that then over time you can scale up that same thing across the municipality.
So just a quick follow-up one. Thanks, Mayor. So I see some councils like Maryback have sort of quite clear that a lot of the focus of the target is also, pensioners and people that sort of need that support the most. Is that something that's been sort of factored in to this thinking as well?
Well, I guess, I mean, that's up to officers, I suppose, but looking at what they've already proposed, so that they currently have 250k against that, the home energy upgrades program, of which 200 is to low-income households. So I guess, we would support whatever the officers thought in terms of if that's just scaled up the same.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions? Councillor Sypek.
Yeah, I've got two questions.
Sure.
Just first one, Logan. Is it when you mentioned the flight path, it just sparked something to me. I know the flight path has now changed, and a lot of people in East Kiln, Avondale Heights, are now coming into this second runway flight path. I know when you mentioned single mum and elderly people, do you think double glazing would be a benefit as part of this scheme? Because they probably won't be able to afford double glazing, like the single mum and the elderly pensioners.
Look, double glazing, absolutely. That being said, it's not necessarily something that officers have already identified as part of the program. So I guess we're just saying is let's keep doing the things that council are already doing at a bigger scale. But I think there was something, a grant came up a couple of years ago from state government on the double glazing. So look, we'd be happy to support that.
Yeah,
sort of
and the
stuff as
reason
well.
we kind of raised that was because you've got a kind of soundproofing as well as your kind of health benefits. So you've got
it's a double benefit.
It's a bang for buck kind of thing. Yeah. So that's why we're mentioning.
No, I totally agree.
And I guess I didn't get to say this at the end, but our whole position in the way that our organisation is structured is that we want to work with you as part of the cog in the wheel to make kind of changes around sustainability. We know that, so we're just kind of trying to play our resident role, look at what you've already done and just augment it in some way. So that's kind of our intention here.
And just my second question is, as you know, this is the time that we're planting trees everywhere and doing a lot of infill planting. I had two trees planted at the front of my place about 3 years ago, and they've gone, they're actually quite a good sized tree now, and the trunk's quite big. But I, like everyone else, have had the misfortune of hitting it with the whippersnipper on occasion, which I admit to it, but it's still growing. Do you think guarding around trees that are a little, like when they're originally put in there, there's plastic guarding around it? Do you think that maybe we could have a scheme if someone's got maybe a little larger tree, not to wreck the bark, to actually get the council to supply them with a bigger one?
Sure. I mean, council put out some great social media on this recently. So, look, certainly anything that we can support the tree canopy, for sure.
Or the other option is to plant up the nature strip, to kind of to take out the grass so you don't have to mow the grass, and then get some, dianellas and native grasses. We've just changed the guidelines, so it's easy to do it. So we can help you.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Thank you so much, Logan
Thanks so much.
and Angela.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Our next speaker is Gerard Mahoney from Community Bank Keilor East, local swimming organisations. Councillor Sypek, sorry, you just need to declare your conflict before you go. Thank you.
Yes, the reason for my conflict of interest is that Jared and I sit on the same board at Community Bank at East Keilor.
Thank you. Councillor Sypek.
Before I start and you start the clock...
Sorry, Jared, we'll just wait for Councillor Sypek to leave the room.
Okay.
Sorry? Yeah, he did. Do we need to bring him back to say whether it's a general or material conflict? All right. When he comes back, we'll clarify that.
Before I do, you start the clock. Sure. On behalf of as chairman of the Community Bank and also chairman of the Centreway Trade Association, I'd like to pass on my condolences to everyone here on the recent passing of Malcolm Ward, who I worked closely with over the last few years. And he did a lot to help us in the Centreway. But I'm not here for that. I believe that the 50 outdoor pool is closed during the winter period due to perceived cost blowouts. I've been advocating for the outdoor 50-metre pool to be open all year round so that Moonee Valley residents and others outside the area can enjoy this magnificent facility in the northwest of Melbourne, the only one of its kind, so that people can maintain their fitness in a relaxed environment. Indoor facilities are vastly too noisy, more congested, and it's not a wonderful experience when you have too many people in the swimming lanes. You have passing issues, aerobic noise, lane closures. It really impedes your experience. And this morning I had a complaint from a resident. By opening the pool all year round, this will alleviate overcrowding lanes, attract new members, extend local swimming squads, and I've had two clubs tell me that 400 swimmers would use the facility if opened all year, enable more school usage all year round to offset any perceived increased costs. The Moonee Valley Council might even find a sponsor to help maintain the facility all year. However, my recent research provided by Moonee Valley staff has enlightened me and clearly demonstrate that the outdoor pool, while not properly maintained at times, when open is clearly not the cause of any excessive gas use. In fact, gas usage clearly decreases per month on average once the 50-metre pool is open. It is due to poor facility management and other factors, but clearly the 50-metre heated pool, when properly maintained and temperature adequately controlled, is not the fault of excessive gas use. I believe Moonee Valley Council aims to be carbon neutral in the future, and possibly if they took over management of all leisure centres and the hundreds of thousands of dollars saved through management fees, this could be improve electrical systems so that more solar panels, batteries and installed localised wind turbine units could possibly better and more efficiently help reach your carbon goals in the future. It's extremely disappointing when you hear about other councils opening the outdoor pools recently. The new pool at Northcote and the pool down in Cold Drysdale. I hope Moonee Valley Council can accept and allow the younger generation to use the pool all the time, and also the older people who need to maintain their fitness all year round. This may enable some of our local young athletes the possibility of training locally and save enormous costs as they endeavour to aim towards making the Australian Olympic team in 2028 or in Brisbane 2032. When the older residents are fitter, there is less costs to the council. I can also provide you with the statistics.
Thank you, Jared, for your submission. Thank you. Any questions from councillors? Councillor Samantha Byrne.
And thanks, Mayor, and thanks, Jared, for the presentation. Jared, if it wasn't open all year round and there was able to be, I suppose, creep on either side of the opening, at the moment it opens September and then closes the
April,
school holiday.
around April, yep.
Which side do you think it should be extended? I know
both, to be
I know
honest.
that would be your preferred position, but is there more of a push for one side than the other?
Well, if you were opening it at one side only, you'd open it before the Christmas period so that people could train leading up to the ocean swims and all that.
So
in April, all the swims are finished, and you go into state for ocean swim. So, a lot of people use that outdoor facility for ocean swimming, triathletes, all these sorts of things. They're there, and you can't train in a 25-metre pool for those events. It's just impossible. You've got people in slow lanes, they slow you up, you're turning constantly. It's a waste of time in a 25-metre pool. And having the only pool in the northwest, I have people coming from Sunbury regularly. People fly in from interstate. They go to the pool on their way to a meeting in the city. If it was properly marketed, you'd have an extra 1,000 members without any problems. That would more than offset any costs involved.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Councillor Isa.
What if we didn't heat it?
Sorry?
What if we didn't heat it?
That's fine with me. I think 2 years ago, one summer, no one could swim there because the management had the pool so hot. After 100 metres, you had to get out because you were dehydrated. The pool was about 35, 36 degrees. It was like swimming in a sauna. It was ridiculous. That's what I mean. If you have good management, and if the council took it over, you would run a better facility than what's happening now. So we have a constant argument with the management over issues, and they wipe their hands, so it's a council issue. We go to council about it. Oh no, it's a management issue. It's one against the other all the time, and we as the members of the facility are in. We don't know what to do because no one wants to act.
Is there any? I mean, I'm not an outdoor swimmer. And
Right.
sorry, is there a health and safety issue if it's too cold for people?
It's beautiful in the cold. If the weather outside is cold, jumping into a warmer pool, it's invigorating. You look at countries like Finland and all those things, they jump into cold water. We've got a hot pool. So it's no big issue. Why would all the other councils embrace it and this council's not embracing it? There's no kids in the northwest of Melbourne can make an Olympic team because our facilities aren't utilised.
Thank you, Jared.
All right.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Any other questions? No?
You want the stats?
Thanks, Jared.
All right.
Thanks for your submission.
Thank you.
We'll now ask Councillor Sypek to return to the chamber. Councillor Sypek, I'll just get you to please clarify whether you have a general or material conflict of interest. General, thank you. Thanks, Councillor Sypek. Welcome back. Our next speaker is Nicole French from Essendon Physio Group. Thanks, Nicole.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nicole French. I'm an accredited exercise physiologist, health researcher, and very proud founder and director of Exercise for Rehabilitation and Health, Essendon Physio Group, and the Melbourne Vestibular Clinic, all located under one roof on Keilor Road in Essendon North. I'm here today on behalf of Essendon Physio Group to request a $20,000 investment to help subsidise our Strength in Balance program, an initiative designed to address one of the most pressing health issues affecting older adults in our region, and that's falls. Each year, 1 in 3 adults over the age of 65 will experience a fall, and falls aren't just a statistic. They represent a devastating loss of independence, quality of life, and in many cases, life itself. In fact, those who experience a hip fracture as a result of a fall, 1 in 4 will in fact lose their life within 12 months. In Moonee Valley, 17% of our residents are actually over the age of 65, and with that number rising, we face an urgent need for falls prevention strategies. As a healthcare professional, I've seen firsthand consequences of falls, and not just physically, but emotionally and also financially. At my core, I believe, as I know you all do, that healthcare services should be responsive, based on the real needs of our community. Strength in Balance is responsive to a real community need. It is a holistic approach to preventing falls, focusing on individual assessment, appropriate triage and properly prescribed exercise to improve strength, balance and mobility in our ageing population. But it's more than just exercise, it's about social connection, it's about empowering individuals, and it's about maintaining independence and dignity. Our program stands out with 3 unique features that sets us apart from comparable programs. And the first is an accredited practicing dietitian that screens for malnutrition. Practitioners that have additional training in vestibular assessment and rehab, so dizziness specialists, and the use of validated and reliable outcome measures using the latest imbalance map technology to detect degree of postural sway. So we are not guessing, we're in fact measuring. Affordability and access are front of mind for us, and this program has been designed in principle using clinical evidence with consideration to implementation science to best understand the framework for sustainability, which is so important, and also scalability. The program follows a user pay system using Medicare rebates as subsidies to support affordability, but for those with very low incomes, it's still just too much. In closing, this program represents a smart investment in the health and independence of older adults in Moonee Valley. It aligns perfectly with the Council's mission to provide physical, mental and social wellbeing. By funding this program, we can help to reduce healthcare costs and improve quality of life. And by tracking data, as any good researcher does, we provide a model for scale that will benefit our entire community. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Councillors, are there any points of clarification on this submission? Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. I just want to pick up on that last point you made, that it's a model for scale. So
yes.
If we were to approve this initial investment, this is a program that can scale, and how big could it scale if, where could it potentially go?
Sky's the limit, I think. I would love to see Moonee Valley as a real leader in supporting active ageing for our older adults, and I think a very big part of exploring this concept is about business sustainability. So we're looking at a subsidy-based system, so a user pays system, and whilst we are looking at clinical results, we're actually looking at the business case of it as well, and talking to our residents about what was great about it, what wasn't so great about it, and how we can look to scale it. We have scaled many programs, and we've actually hosted many grants, up to about $250,000 recently, in looking at business sustainability and scale of similar types of programs. So I'd love to see Moonee Valley as absolute leaders in this.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Any other questions from councillors? No, thank you. Thank you for your submission, Nicole.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Aaron Deber from Melbourne Disc Golf Club. Thank you, Aaron.
Mayor Adams, councillors, thank you for this opportunity to present a proposal. The proposal is for the installation of a trial disc golf course to be located at the southern portion of the Boeing Reserve and the connecting parkland between Boeing Reserve and Strathmore Reserve in Strathmore Heights. Disc golf is a worldwide sport with a growing following in Australia and involves players throwing a frisbee-style disc into metal baskets. The activity is an equitable pursuit as it is inexpensive to begin playing and is a low-impact activity allowing for play amongst a diverse population. The Greater Melbourne area has a handful of courses, but there are none in the immediate vicinity. Disc golf also features a low amount of infrastructure requirement for councils and no additional grounds maintenance. The proposed reserve space has been identified as it is underutilized at present, and the disc golf course would provide greater activation of the space. With the trial course, the Melbourne Disc Golf Club can provide temporary baskets and design the course layout. The funds that we are requesting would be for the promotion of the temporary course through your communication channels like social media within the city of Moonee Valley. That would include also promoting come and try sessions that would be facilitated by Melbourne Disc Golf Club, which would provide instruction of an introduction to the game. The suggested length of the trial would be 6 months minimum. After the completion of the trial, a summary report can be submitted to the council to evaluate if a permanent course could be considered in that space. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Councillors, are there any questions for this submission? Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thanks, Mayor, and thanks for the presentation. When the game is happening,
yes,
is the course closed to the public or is it still open?
I would say that we'd want to lay the course out so we would be minimizing impact. You know, we'd want to not be close to footpaths and that sort of thing. So, because you are throwing a plastic disc, we want to minimize the risk to the other park population or park users.
So it would have to be closed off?
It wouldn't have to be closed off. It would just maybe have to have some signage to say, you know, caution. But we would want to have flight paths that wouldn't be, you know, impacting on other park users, let's say.
So you wouldn't have it over a cycling track or something?
No. Yeah, we would be looking for safe lines of throwing, okay. Yes.
And how many holes?
Typical layouts that we have in Melbourne are either like a 9 basket with maybe 2 different tee locations, or we go with 18 in similar to real golf, I guess, in that sense.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Aaron, any other questions? No, thank you very much,
thank you for your
Aaron,
time.
for your submission. Our final speaker will be Genevieve Flower on behalf of Frank Steltaro from Keilor East Football Club. Thanks, Genevieve.
Hi, everybody. So I just have to change. I'm here, Genevieve Flower, as Secretary of East Keilor Football Club Cougars. We're looking to get approval to seek installation of new LED lighting fixtures on Oval 1 of Overland Reserve. Currently, we have the great LED lighting on our Oval 2, but at this stage, we're actually sharing that ground area with Essendon Super Rules and a couple of soccer clubs. We're looking at growing our club. This year alone, we have become the fastest growing area for Auskick. We now currently have 70 kids coming along every session. As you'll see in the submission, we also have support from Ben Carroll and the EDFL. So we're looking, I think with the EDFL, they have approximately 240 games they have to schedule on a weekend for the junior clubs. So if we could get lighting on Oval 1, that means we can help and have lighting and be able to play games on a Friday night. We also have the facilities then to grow and have lots more training. We're hoping to have an under-8 girls team next year, which will grow from our Auskick. At this stage in our season this year, we have 5 junior teams and 3 senior teams. Next year, we're hoping to grow our juniors even more. That is it.
Excellent. Thank you, Genevieve. Is there any questions from councillors or points of clarification on this submission? Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you. How many girls' teams do you currently have?
We don't actually have any girls' teams alone. We have mixed teams in 8s, 10s, 12s and 14s. And so we are looking to get like an under-8s team. We're trying to attract, and our aim, as you know, other football clubs have plenty of girls teams, so we're trying to attract as many, and by having the lighting facilities on Oval 1, but also the safety concern of trying to fit everybody in, and so we want to grow as much as possible and have that availability to be able to use every inch of the grounds for ourselves and what other sporting groups that we have to share our grounds with.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Genevieve. Thank you for your submission. That concludes the hearing of submissions on the draft budget 2025-26. Thank you to all the submitters for speaking tonight. We will consider all submissions as part of the final budget deliberations at the next council meeting on the 24th of June 2025. A formal response will be provided to everyone who made a submission. Thank you and good night.